Welcome back. I'm going to do a kind of new product feature today. This is one of my favorite material designers. Probably he's definitely my favorite. Greg Senyo stuff. This is Dirty Bird dubbing. It's a marabou type dubbing. This particular color, the second I saw this, I just had a handful of samples. It's going to come in 25 different colors, but I immediately thought of this fly when I saw this material, when it was all like this, all crazy. And Denny Rickard, as a lot of you know, I do a lot of lake fishing. I really like lake fishing. And one of my mentors, my original Denny Rickard's one of the greatest of all time. One of his flies is called the seal bugger. And I immediately thought of this fly because it looks just like, it's like kind of random, but it looks, when it gets wet, it looks really gooey, right? And it's just, I immediately said, I got to tie some of these. I think it's going to be one of those things where it just takes a lot of steps away. And I think, don't know, because I just started tying them, I think it's going to be even better. I think it's going to have just this movement, this pulsing movement because of all that marabou around. So super fast tie. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to be using the Dirty Bird, this dubbing, and for everything. I'm going to have the tails. And Denny's original fly was 3 colors, kind of a brown, dark brown, orange, and an olive over top of it. And then it was just this crayfish color as the leech pattern. And so, like I said, I'm not going to take a lot of time because I'm just kind of just featuring this product more than anything, because it's just really, as all of you know, have watched me tie before, I love dubbing loops. And I'm going to loop this thing, and it's just almost instantly perfect. You get to rake it out and make it anything you want, thicker, thinner, whatever. So I've got a 710, this is a older hook. It's a 3X long, number 6. I'm using some nylon thread, pretty heavy thread, just as it's easy. It builds bulk very quickly. And this fly shouldn't take you more than 3 or 4 minutes, even though obviously when I start talking, it takes longer. But first I'm going to put in here, and usually I use a little bit darker brown than this, but I just kind of liked the way it blended in with this thing. It was with the colors that were in here. This is just the first one I tied. And so I just, you get to wing it a little bit. And the other thing you're going to see that I'm going to do that I never do, you can blame Charlie Craven. This is his fault. Charlie likes to use the sides of these, and I always use the tips of these feathers. But this is one fly, because it's so sparse, the original tie, the way Denny did it originally, was very sparse. And because you're going to run 3 different colors in here, I kind of like it. I use the same thing. I always use my hook as my gauge, so it's going to be the length of the hook. So I'm just going to transfer over there, do a pinch wrap. I'm going to drop one right here, 2 turns, just pretty tight. I'm going to cut this one off. And I'm going to layer this, but I'm also going to put in some root beer micro flash, crystal flash. I'm going to put one of those in. I like that to be kind of in the middle of it. So I'm simply going to tie one, just one on the outside there. And then just pull it over onto the other side here and leave them long. You can go back and trim them. Just leave them kind of hanging out there long, and you can always come back and just change it later. That one's a little bit too long. So then we're going to go with the orange. And again, I'm using the sides. I have done 100 videos and said I never use the sides of this. And I always reference Charlie Craven because, he needs my help. That, and he's probably one of the greatest tiers of all time. When Charlie does this, it looks really good. And so, again, I'm going to pinch that, and I'm going to move forward just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of wrap this a little more than halfway. I'm going to start a taper with this, and then I'm going to finish all of this a little bit heavier with the olive on the top. And again, pulling it off the side of the hook. And again, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to advance up here just a little bit. I hate not having good tapers in my flies, and we're going to get one more chance to clean that up. And so I'm just getting this nice, clean, tight body. And make sure when you're coming back here that you have a reference point. We always talk about that. I use the gouge. And make sure you can see those are layered. And now we get a final, because I'm going to run, you wouldn't really have to do this with this fly. You wouldn't have to run a rib on it, because really your counter ribbing usually is hackle. And I'm going to put that in there on the back side. And this is my final chance to come in here and design a slight taper to this body. You can see I went up one side, back down the other, about halfway down this side. And this is going to simply be a rib to help secure that. And again, I don't know if you'd have to do that, because all that's going to happen if a fish gets in there, it's going to make it more picky, which might be better than, when it's going to be a little tight. So now I'm just going to come forward. I like to leave that open just a little bit with this much material. The gap between, when I'm saying open, the gap between, I don't know if you can see it, but right here, usually when I do that, I put a turn around it to tighten it up. This material is so bulky, I don't have to do that. All right, so this looks like a cat puked this thing up. I mean, it's just rando. It's everywhere. I mean, the stuff is just everywhere. And there's a little bit of marabou, a little bit of dubbing. You get this little bit of shine, and it's basically exactly how if you were trying to build that with the body, the dubbing and the hackle and the ribbing that you do, that would all be stuff you would be putting into a fly if you're doing the original. This one, I just build a little taper. I'll show you in a second here. I build a little tiny taper so it's smaller at the back, bigger at the front. So it's more up here. And then it's just simply give it a spin. You can see it's already built. It's bigger up here. You can do that. Just kind of pick it out a little bit. First turn, as always, you hold it. Don't let it spin on you. Don't let your tail spin. If you did it right, if you're tight, they're not going to spin anyway. But then just give your first one and just open it up and let that material build as you go forward. Come right up to, you can see where the head of the fly is, right here. And I would tell you, when you work with this stuff, be careful when you get to the front. Don't worry about don't try to use that all up. Don't try to use, I got lucky on that one. But if you didn't, if you still had a whole bunch of stuff there, pull it off and just pull it off your dubbing loop and throw it back in. It fluffs all back up really quick, so you never waste anything with this. Now I'm just going to tidy that up. Davey McPhail, love when he says that. Tidy up a bit. So, hey, maybe I should put the rib on it. Don't tidy up a bit. Come back here. First fly I've tied all year on film. So, right now you could go ahead and just kind of take your whatever brush you're using. You can do that. I don't do it. I do it after I do these. I've done a grand total of 5 of these flies now with this. But I meant how I ended up doing them. So I'm going to do a couple turns right there with my copper. Come forward and just cover that up. Just cover your copper up. Nice tight turns. Get that off of there. Now we can finish that off. Get out of there. Whoa, dropped my loop. Tell that's the first fly of the season. All right, now, like I said, if you want to pick this out, get it whatever you like. And again, this stuff is so easy to work with. You grab it, if you don't like it, you pull these things off. You just get to go crazy however you want. But the beauty of this, you got 3 colors in it, right? It's already looking very seal buggerish, like Denny's original stuff. But then you can just keep picking and picking and picking. If you don't like it, you just grab it and pull it off. I guarantee you, once you start casting this and fish are biting it, it's going to pick out and get even more it's going to undulate and get gooey looking. So just give it a shot of glue on the head. Boom. And we are done. So it's kind of like I said, this is a new product for me. I haven't used it. I haven't fished it. I've fished thousands of flies like this with materials that undulate like this. I just think it's a super clean, and by the way, this is called crawfish. I think this is going to be a really, really cool thing to tie crayfish with. It's especially in this color. Again, I just did 2. I'll end up, generally my leech patterns, I end up with this kind of color right here, this olivey brown, a pure olive, and a black. And that's usually the end of my leech style stuff. I'll do this in 2 colors. I'll do it in a 4 and a 6 usually. Rarely I'll do maybe a 2, but you saw how quick, even with me running my mouth as much as I do, you saw how quick that fly was. It's done. It doesn't take much. A great way to learn to do a dubbing loop because you got lots of control. You know, you get to see how to work it all in there and play with it. And so I think it's going to be really, really productive fly as well. Hope you like it. Hope it helps you out.